Hey guys, Chandler here, back on my channel, Alternate Journey. Probably talking about one of the most important things, honestly, in my opinion right now, and that is safe binding tips for during the summertime. It's really important to bind safely all year round, but especially during the summertime. So first and foremost is to wear the right size binder. Now, wearing a size too small will not give you a flatter appearance, although a lot of people will think that, and it could put you at a lot of risk of physical harm. When binding, it should not cause any pain or trouble breathing. I know it is very important to have a flat appearance of a chest and everything like that, especially in order to pass or to ease your dysphoria. In the long run of things, it is very important to make sure that you are being healthy for your body. Don't bind for more than 8 to 10 hours. For people who are just starting out with binding, I suggest honestly just going for 4 hours a day, just to work your way up to the 8-hour mark. Obviously, if you've been outside and like you're exercising or anything like that and doing any physical movement, I would limit it to the 4 hours as well, even if you've been binding for years, because the compression can add just so much kind of heat and everything like that, and like it'll just be safer for you just to limit the amount of time that you're binding. Give yourself rest breaks, even if the break is just for like 10 minutes. Just give yourself binder breaks in order to be healthy for your body. Make sure within this time you are also taking days off from binding, especially if you bind every day. Give yourself one lazy day just to be at home in a really baggy t-shirt, not binding at all. This is very important. I know a lot of people want to bind every day, that it will hopefully break down the tissues within your chest so it'll be easier for top surgery and stuff. I've heard many people say that, but in the long run, you binding won't necessarily do that unless, of course, you are binding extremely tightly and stuff, but that could cause other harms, rib damage and stuff like that. But also, it's actually not beneficial for you to break down the tissue before actually getting surgery in any regard, and in any fact, if you're not giving yourself breaks from binding, you might actually change the elasticity of your skin. The elasticity of your skin is very important when it comes to top surgery, especially with different types of techniques, especially keyhole surgery, because elasticity will just help with like the nipple placement, but also ensuring that the skin comes back to the point where, like, when they remove all the tissue, it doesn't seem saggy. Your skin will just come back to it. That's what elasticity is. It's basically when you pull your skin and it's going back to its original position. So if you change elasticity, then you won't get the results of top surgery that you want. Stretching. Stretching is very important, especially on your days off. Honestly, I stretch every time when I take off my binder, just because like it just releases the stress from binding. Obviously, your body shouldn't go through too much stress when binding if you're wearing the right size, but it does, like, it's a little compression and everything, so it's important to stretch. The best stretch that I personally do is just like find a corner of the room, put your hand on like your side and just like kind of do like a push-up almost into the wall. The best stretch, honestly, for anyone that binds and stuff like that. It gets the shoulder blades and everything. It's perfect. Now, throughout this video when I'm talking, typical binders is very different from trans tape. Now, if you are interested in tape binding, I suggest that you watch the video that I made all about trans tape. Now, personally, I use trans tape a lot during the summertime. It's the easiest way to bind for me. It allows you to continuously bind for multiple days. So, meaning like I actually do sleep while binding, but that's just because it's tape binding, it's made for your skin, it's breathable, and just, yeah, if you want to know more, definitely check out this video that I made about it. I will link that down below. All in all, the most important thing when it comes to binding, especially during the summertime, is to listen to your body. Pay attention to what your body is telling you, because when it's telling you stuff, it's kind of important. And if you experience any type of pain or discomfort, stop binding immediately and give yourself a break. Now, this is a list of things that to watch out for when binding. Now, when I say binding, I typically mean with a typical binder, but of course these are also important when it comes to tape binding as well, because you can also do tape binding a little too tight. The most common cause with that is blisters. But then again, I give you guys tips within that video as well. Again, I just highly suggest it. Tape binding it just works for me. I usually tape bind more than typical binding, especially during the summertime. So, yeah. Alright, so things to watch out for is trouble breathing or chest tightness. Now, people get confused when they hear chest tightness because it's like, duh, you're binding. Of course you're going to feel some type of tightness. How I like to explain it, especially to new individuals, yes, you're going to feel like a slight tightness because obviously you are binding. You're trying to have a flatter appearance of the chest to pass as more masculine or just feel comfortable in your body. Basically how I like to explain it is like a small animal sitting on your chest, like a cat. You're going to feel like some type of pressure, but it's not uncomfortable. It's just like its presence that you know it's there and stuff like that. But when like another human being sits on your chest and applies pressure, you start to have extreme tightness where essentially not be able to breathe and stuff, and you have shortness of breath. That's the type of tightness that you don't want to feel. If it's like a little bit of like pressure, that's fine because that's just you binding your chest closer to your body in order for it to be a flatter appearance. So that's how I like to explain it, because it's like, yes, you're going to feel a little bit of tightness, but nothing too extreme. The tightness, eventually you don't even think about it when it goes later on because it's so small that your body just becomes used to it. Especially when you're first binding, it may feel tighter than usual just because you're a whole new to binding. That's why I suggest doing 4 hours when you're typically starting to bind, just so your body can get used to it. Any kind of bruising, redness, or swelling, especially underneath the underarms, that indicates that the binder is too tight. Dizziness or lightheadedness, this is a sign that you're not able to take controlled, deeply measured breaths. Tingling in the arms or fingers, this is a sign that you have cut off circulation. Typically happens with the underarms just being too tight right here. Dehydration, this is mainly during the summertime, but also just like all year round too. Make sure that you are keeping hydrated and stuff, especially when you're binding, because when you're binding, you're having an area of your body closer to your body, so you're gonna feel warmer and contain more heat than usual, especially during the summertime. Sweat a little bit more and stuff like that, so that's why it's very important to hydrate. Also, when you are exercising in a binder, make sure that it's a looser fitting binder and that you are especially taking a break right after you're done exercising, and I wouldn't have the exercise be more than an hour. Now, of course, if you experience any of those symptoms, definitely stop binding, and if you have any soreness that lasts more than a couple of binder-free days, I would highly suggest contacting your doctor. The most key important thing to deter all of this is honestly just to get the right size binder. Make sure you are getting a measuring tape, one of those like body measuring tapes, not your typical ruler or anything. Make sure you're using a body measuring tape to get the right size. That can be very discomforting for a lot of trans individuals, but minor dysphoria now helps for more euphoria later. You're gonna have more euphoric moments where like you're actually able to appear more masculine or just be more comfortable in your body with binding and stuff, and it's just gonna add a lot more comfortability to your life. That minor 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes. It takes literally 2 minutes to measure for the right size binder. Make sure you just write that down on a notepad so you don't have to measure again. Just go through all the websites and find the best fit for you. I hope this was helpful. For people that's been binding for years, this is honestly nothing new. This is stuff that you kind of learn along the way. For the statistics, if you find yourself watching multiple of my videos, might as well subscribe, and don't forget to click the bell down below so you get notifications whenever I upload. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.